podcast. This is Jetpack Nick, and I'm here with a very special guest today, my girl, Dope Queen. Say what's up to the people. I turned to that little squeaky high people. I ain't even hear you.
Oh, my bad. Hey, people.
There you
Was
go.
that
There you go. There you go.
my
Oh
bad? My
man.
bad.
So we listen. We kept our promise. We back, man. We told y'all we
Yep.
was gonna be back with another What's the Word, and here we are. So just a little overview of What's the Word for the people who don't know who it is.
Yep.
What's the Word is a segment, if you will, on the HolloTalk podcast where we just take one word, for the episode and we talk about it, explain the definition of it, and we talk about how it applies to everyday life. So the word that we're going to do for this episode is identity. So the proper definition for identity, as it reads, is identity is the unique set of characteristics that can be used to identify a person as themselves and no one else. Look
You
like you got something to
know.
say. Yeah, look like you
Oh,
got
sorry.
something to
Yeah.
say. Hey, go
For
ahead.
those of
Look like
you, my face kind of switched up a little bit. So from that definition, right?
yeah.
Like, I know we're about to talk about identity and whatever, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but it don't. It sounds okay. So we use the word unique, right?
Yes.
And in my head, nothing about any individual alive is unique. And I'm gonna say this only because there are multiple similarities amongst people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like multiple characteristics that are like similar, right? Nobody
Right.
ever knows that like that unique quality they talking about. Because I can see you in this person, I can see this person in that person. What is unique? And that's crazy. So do we all lack identity because there's no uniqueness amongst us? Like I can't. I wish I hope I explained that correctly. Because in my head, I'm like, I could think of one person and then think of like 13 other people that match that one person.
Okay.
Like yeah.
No,
You
I'm
get me?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to break it down. So this sounds like a concept that we talk about often, where like when we talk about just people's experiences, like we always say that like no experience is necessarily unique because of all the people that have been on Earth at any point in
Mhm.
time, somebody has went through the same experience as you at
Right.
some point. Now, it may not like you may not know that person, or they may not like be in your circle or whatever, but somebody has experienced this
Mhm.
thing. Like everybody's experienced heartbreak, everybody's experienced a relationship, everybody experienced family troubles, or just the everyday things that come through life, the ups and downs, you know.
Right.
But I don't know. That's interesting. We all try to like stand out, but we all want to fit in. That that
Right.
that
Yo,
sounds
you
like
said it. Yeah. Bro, that's crazy.
yeah, that sounds counterproductive, doesn't it?
It, it is. But you're right though, because like everybody wants to be their own individual, but still want to fit in with other individuals. So it's just like I can't. Oh my god, I got things in my head
We're
like
cracking
that.
the
I
code.
know.
We're cracking the code.
Like yeah. So like this identity thing is very much lacking amongst all of us, bro. Like everybody who feel
Yeah.
like they dress a certain way and listen to certain music. There is 15,000 other people around the world that do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like y'all all dress the same. All these trends that y'all think that y'all setting, people gonna catch on to that. Like then you're not gonna
Or
be
it's already been done. It's already
like
been
right.
done, and you
Even
just don't
that,
know it.
a lot of things have been repeated. Let's really talk about it. Oh my goodness, damn. Damn. I don't want to get into music, but that's how I feel about artists who cover other people's songs. Like,
That
I,
yeah. I that's interesting. That's interesting.
there is one particular artist who I really do not. I won't say I don't like him per se because his music is really but everything that I've heard has always been something he has remixed off an already made song. Like all his hot stuff is remade off of popular songs. So I used to
Okay.
be like, show me that you're an actual artist. Put your own shit together, which he has. But I'm just like, that stuff don't go nowhere. So are you really an artist? But like, that's just a different conversation for different day.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right. Okay. So this is so many. There's so many places we can go with this. So let me
No,
ask this
right.
question. So do you feel that like how do I want to say this? Like the uniqueness of you having your own personal identity becomes watered down to a level where you can only be unique amongst the people that you associate with.
Yes.
But how do you do that? Like in a way where you do stand out amongst the people who already quote unquote stand out from everybody else.
Okay. How do you stand out amongst people that already stand out?
Yeah.
I feel like, well, we've done it. Like, hold on. In my head, I'm looking at it right, but we have done it. We have been, I want to say we was in a group full of misfits. And that's why we stuck out individually, but we was never like a whole group named. We were just individuals in a group. Like, man. Okay, so I think it depends on who you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
You surround yourself with people that are different races and different things. Now you are your own individual with your own identity amongst that group. Like,
I got somewhere I want to go with this, but continue.
Okay, go
Continue.
ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
So
Like,
that sounds like a conversation that's prevalent in the black community, which is, are you black enough? Right? Like what I mean is, like, you already stand out as a black person, right? Like in
yeah,
comparison to all the
and
other races
yeah,
and ethnicities
right.
that are in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like it's like another level that you gotta like break through, right? So it's the level of you being black in your community, or you being whatever else ethnicity, like now you got to prove to them that, like, all right, like, I seen all the black movies, like, and if you ain't seen the
Right.
movies, then you ostracized from the from the group. Like, I don't know, it's like it's a lot of layers to it.
I apologize for the plane, but
Ooh.
no, it is. Yo, that's yo. Because in my head, I understand that very well. Because
Right.
I am a part of the black community, there's a level I have not reached because I cannot pass that barrier that is there. Um,
What level you ain't reach?
bro, I told you the other day, this, like, you know how you just said, like, you gotta have watched all these black movies in order to be in like to order to be black. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen majority of them, and that's why I can't really indulge in certain conversations. I apologize, but it's things like that, and then there. Oh my goodness, there's always two sides of every group, right? So you
Right.
gotta see where you could fit. Like, oh, see where you fit. Something crazy to say. I'm crazy to say, but what happens when you don't fit neither? Do you just take that black
See,
part
that
of
that's
you?
that's
Like,
that's what I
what
was
happened?
about to that's what I was about to ask you. I was about to say, so like when that happens, does that create a problem of your identity completely, which then you erase what your identity actually is as, like, whatever person you are, whatever your race, ethnicity, culture, whatever that is, and you can't relate to that one specifically, and then you go to another one that's more accepting of you, but that's not really who you are. So now it's like you kind of getting flack from both sides, right? Like like for instance, if you're not quote unquote black enough, right? And then you start, like, maneuvering over to another culture, right? Now the black community is like, damn, like, what's
Yeah,
going on, right? But then you're not necessarily as accepted in that other community because you're not them.
right.
So
Yo, you
that
have
creates
just
a that creates
together
a
all everybody who's mixed. You have just explained their life, and I
problem.
feel bad. That sounds horrible. Like, not like if you haven't been on TikTok, they be in there, they be on there crying, and I understand now because of what you just explained. That's insane. So like you in the middle, like that's in weird. Like, do you create your own category out of that? Like, or do you just go without, like, but don't everybody identity stem from their cultural black background? Like, I
I
don't.
mean,
So have
I
one.
would
Where do
I
you
would say that that's where it initially begins, because you're kind of sort of born into it. Like,
right?
you can't choose like where you're born, what you're born as or whatever the case may be. Like that's just a fact of nature, right? Like you know what I mean?
Right.
So once that happens, then I guess that's like your first form of identity. Like, oh, like I'm from here, I'm this gender, I'm this race, whatever the case may be, because that's not something you could change until you're able to change it. Like you can't change it as a fucking 2 month old. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's I think that's like where like it first stems from though. Yeah.
What? That's insane. That's insane. Cause yo, you ever seen somebody who is of Hispanic background, right?
Mm-hmm.
But don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, it's
But
it yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
they treat it differently amongst family because it's like, where are you from? Who are you?
Right.
Like be for real. Like you can't rule your R's or something. Like you can't sit with us. Like it's one of the things.
What
Like,
the fuck?
oh, sorry, that too much?
She's so dude.
Like,
Yeah.
damn. So identity is all about fitting in. Is that what it is?
But that kind of defeats the concept of it though. Like, well, I wouldn't even say that. I think it defeats half of the definition. It defeats the individual part of it, right? Because it's not like there's nothing that you can do specifically that makes you stand out amongst the people you want to fit in with. And even if it does, it kind of puts you in a box where now you don't associate with anyone, which goes against what I personally think the natural like thing is for people is to want to be a part of something, be a part of a
Mhm.
community, be a part
Right.
of something that's relatable, something that they can relate to, right? And you know, like a culture, if you will, a community.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
you being like the standout person, right? It allows you a chance to see what it's like to be lonely, and nobody wants to be lonely. I don't think.
Right. Right.
So then
I
that
mean,
just brings you right back into the community aspect. You're searching for something to attach yourself to, and that kind of takes away from your individual identity.
so we're trying to attach ourselves to a specific group to develop our own individual identity within that group you
Yeah,
already attached yourself to.
and all that does is separate you from what you work
Every
so
time.
hard to get. Exactly. It's very like it's very counterproductive.
Bruh. Like, okay, hold on. So now I want to know more about us individually. Because now that we have already established that neither one of us are unique individuals within the community that we are, I want to know your community, bro. I want to know what is the one that you feel like you've latched onto or attached yourself to. Do you want to start from the beginning or you want to start from
I mean,
do what you do?
well, again, I like I said before, like it's a fluid concept. Like it's not like extremely concrete because, like, again, even you being born somewhere, right? Some people don't even identify where they're born at. People identify where they were raised, if they moved from where they were born, or whatever the case may be. So it's a fluid concept, right? Like for me, I think I identify as a I don't know. Like, well, I'm gonna say I'm an artist. I do represent the artist community
Mm-hmm.
because I do a bunch of different things. I do podcasts. I'm into music. I act.
Right.
I don't know. I try to paint a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I just painted a little paint. I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay,
I'm
okay.
gonna get one of my paintings hung up on your wall. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna put you up there.
Well, but yeah, I think that's one of the things that I would say I identify as an artist. Um, hmm, I don't know, music lover, like an Aquarius.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of
Oh,
a bunch of different things.
okay. Well, where are you from? Let's just put not where you live, but where are you from? Where do you say that you are from? That's what branches off of you because where you are born and raised is where you get how is where you get a lot of stuff from, and I know that for sure because there's a lot of things I can't shake because it's something that's just stuck.
You know I don't tell people that. You know I don't
Oh,
do
you know, yo, but I know you, Nicholas. Listen to this and knows Nicholas always
that.
got 50 million places he is from. Like he
Yeah.
got one particular place, and that one is why our friendship was always like he's always okay. But
All right, okay. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. All right, this is a trade secret. All right, it's a trade secret. Okay. I represent Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I also represent New York City.
how?
How?
Because we two cities, we're two different type of cities. Is no as much as people want to compare us, we are not the same. We are not
That's
the
true.
same at all. So how? And you know what's crazy? You give off Cali vibes. You don't even give off neither one of these cities.
You
And
know?
that's like,
Wait, hold, time out. See, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna take it as disrespect, but I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
I like Cali.
Well, what does that mean? How do I give off Cali vibes?
Oh,
You gotta give me a good explanation for me to accept this.
What? You don't think you give off Cali vibes?
You know,
Like,
okay, all right. I tell you what. I tell you what. I tell you what. I'm a respect that because as a kid, I felt that. I felt like I gave off Cali vibes. I did as a kid, but now not so much.
Okay, all right.
But you're talking about like recent me. How do I give off Cali vibes?
No, I'm talking about overall you. Like not
Overall me?
recently, but like since I've met you, you didn't give off.
No,
Given
no,
that I have,
but that's what I'm saying though. But that's what I'm saying. Like
well, how do you give off Cali vibes?
yeah, because I know like when you didn't know me, I know I was giving off Cali vibes because like I was in
Right.
like that was by how do I want to say that was on purpose. That was on
So
purpose.
you just been acting since day one. Is that what we're gonna do?
No, like I was influenced by like the West Coast though. Like that was like you know, so I like I adapted
Hmm.
to wanting to be like there, right? But then that didn't happen. So I didn't really care to even do that anymore. Or I just say like I grew up. I grew up and became more of just me, like who
Okay.
I am, I think, which is the East Coast kid that I am, because I'm from the East Coast.
Okay. So you just said you identify as what influenced you the most, right?
Yeah.
Which was, you said West Coast.
Yeah, at that time as a kid, like for a period of time, yeah.
Okay, so what influenced you the most right now?
What influenced me to do what, or just as influences me as a person,
As the culture,
as the culture.
like of the places you just, which
So
one
I,
is
so so I'll tell you. I think that a lot of places influence me, not just Philly and New York City, right? Now,
hmm,
now shit, let's just break it down for a second, actually. So you know as well as I do that even in New York City, right? So again, like this goes back to what we talked about when we talk about community and then being an individual within a community. New York City is the entire city, right? But
yeah,
in New York City, you got five boroughs, right? None of the
right,
five boroughs are exactly the same. They have their own distinct identity, right? So if
right,
so for somebody that's in New York City, you'd be like, oh, he's from the Bronx. Oh,
yeah,
Shorty's from Brooklyn, whatever, right? Because of
yeah,
just vocal inflections, the way you
right,
dress, whatever the case may be, right?
right.
All of those things harkens back to identity and what identity is. You can be in one place but be influenced by so many different things in that one place. Like you could be influenced by the Bronx lifestyle, which is the birthplace of hip hop. You could be influenced by Harlem, which is the fashion capital in the United States. Like you know what I mean? Like so many different layers under one roof.
So this identity thing is real deep.
It is. That's why we're talking about it. We talk
Yeah.
about introspective shit on the HolloTalk podcast. We don't talk about the same topics.
Oh yeah, because that's we don't got time for repetition. It's too much. So okay. So you are equally influenced by all these places. There's specific things about these individual places that has influenced you into who you are today.
Absolutely.
I can't get with that, bro. I'm
You
sorry.
you can't get with that.
Cause I can't understand it, right? If you have not lived there, it has influenced. Okay, I'll take social media into account. Actually, I'm gonna just
No,
strip that. Like,
you have to that
right,
bringing up social media. That's like another beast when it comes to identity, right? So let me take a time out real quick. Do you even want to go into that conversation? Because we can.
yeah.
All
At
right.
this point, let's rot it out because
Okay. So
we try things out.
let's talk about social media for instance, right? So let's think of something like relationships, right? So
Okay.
even in a relationship, regardless of the social media part, let's just focus on the relationship part, right? Some
Okay.
people don't even have an identity outside of their relationship. Their relationship is their identity,
Agreed.
which is a scary thing. That's a
You know what it is?
terrifying thing.
Explain that a little bit more for people that wouldn't understand what you're talking about.
So
Explain. Yeah.
so what I mean when I say that's a terrifying thing to have your relationship be your only identity is once that relationship ends or if that relationship ends, what do you do as an individual? Whatever you had representing your identity, which was the relationship, is no longer existent, right? One, it could keep you in a bad cycle of trying to recycle something that isn't good anymore, or two, you're just a lost cause completely because you have no self awareness of like, oh, like I like this, I like that. Like you probably wouldn't even know, like, damn, I like this because he like this, or I only like this because she like this. Like, what do I like? What do I want to do? Like, what are my interests? That's a scary thing, especially a lot of people at the big ages that they be at, to not know who they are to a degree individually, and their only identity is whoever they're with at that time. That's a scary thing.
Oh my god. Yo, there's people like that in the
It
world, bro.
is.
Oh my goodness.
It is.
Okay, for those of y'all confused, that sounds like a very much abusive relationship. So that's exactly what he described. So
I
figure
mean,
that out.
not. It don't even have to be like some to most of them probably are that, but some of them don't even have to be that. Sometimes you're just in a relationship where you just don't got no personality, and you with somebody that got a lot of personality, and you only be attached to whatever their personality is. It could just be that. Like it don't even got to be that whole other situation, which some of them or most of them can be. But that's neither here nor there.
Right. But like I'm like that's actually a thing. And I'm baffled because I'm like,
Yeah,
damn. Whatever you are influenced by is the identity you take on.
yeah.
I don't like this conversation.
So bringing it all back to social media, right? Like when you think of a relationship, right? Most people don't even know how to even be in their own relationship because they're so conditioned to to look like someone else's, which they call goals, relationship goals or whatever, right? You're influenced by somebody else's lifestyle, somebody else's social status. And that's not even the life you live, right? Or the relationship that you live or even want to have for that matter, right? So then your relationship identity is based off of something that may not even be applicable to how you want to be loved or how you love someone else. And then that causes problems. And there you go. You fucked up a good relationship potentially because you wanted to live another relationship that ain't even applicable to yours.
I agree. And I see it in everybody to be like, let's be a YouTube couple. Them wannabe YouTube couples kill me, bro. Kill me. But I understand because that's a fact. I think we all do that though.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
no one,
we do.
because I know for a fact I'll be like, okay, I want that. Knowing damn well I don't know what that actually what I have to do to obtain that. I just
Exactly.
know that that's what I want. So, oh, wow. Social media is a horrible influence. Horrible, horrible.
Well,
It got
yeah, yeah.
trying to obtain these unobtainable things for certain people. Like,
See, but it's only I ain't even gonna say only, but it's a majority. Like the majority of it is horrible because of this conversation that we're having right now. People not having an individual identity. People not being self aware enough to be like, yeah, like that's cool, but that's not for me though. Like, we gotta be attached to the
hip.
the way things look or what's popular or whatever the case may be. The influencers, obviously, right? That's what they call people on social media. They call them influencers, right? It's a reason they're called influencers because they're influencing the people that follow what they do, right? Which thus creates people taking on their persona, their ideologies, their personality. And
Yeah.
that's not even a realistic thing that you could like really do in a lot of cases, right? Because you're not there, or maybe what they're projecting isn't even true, or whatever the case may be.
So does this only confirm that all of us lack identity? Like unique identities?
I mean, to a
Like
degree, yeah.
majority of us,
Yeah.
majority of us. There's probably some of us within some of these communities that have that unique personality, but only within them communities, and everything else, you're not really you regular degular schmegular. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, you could be the biggest fish in a fish bowl, but when you get put in the ocean, you just a guppy.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, that's just a matter of fact. I'm not saying nothing that ain't never been said already.
He's talking about that hasn't been said already. Facts, yo. Okay. Oh my gosh. Because I'm just like, damn. So as unique as I think that I am in my head, I'm really not. I'm really not.
No,
Like,
but like I don't even want to like even say that though, because I feel like it gives off a negative connotation. Like,
oh, that you like, you're not.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah, like
saying.
like there's nothing special about you. Like I don't even want to like promote that or like project that per se. Like what we're doing right now is just having like a realistic conversation about the scale of identity, the layers of identity, and what identity truly means in each aspect of life, right? So when we just talk about individual identity, like you yourself, like you got to live with yourself every day, right? Not saying that you're not going to be influenced by outside influences or the things that you're close to or whatever the case may be. But when it's all said and done, you versus the person next to you, y'all have similarities, y'all have differences, right? Which make you stand out amongst that person or the people that you associate with, right? But then you have the collective identity, which is your community, your culture, your
Right.
neighborhood, whatever the case may be, right? And that doesn't necessarily it doesn't necessarily need you to be an individual per se because you're a part of a collective. You move as a unit. The only identity that matters is that collective identity. So, saying all that to say, I'm just saying I'm not saying that one identity is more important than the other when it comes to individual versus community or collective identity. But you just have to understand the differences and what makes each one of them what it is.
If only y'all could see my face.
Well, the YouTube people can see your face.
Well, yeah, because okay. So what about people with talents? Like what about the people that we put on like pedestal? Like what about celebrities? Like oh my god, I ain't about to talk about nobody on here because I would hate for anybody to.
Well, we ain't got to say nobody's name specifically, but
Right, but like some singers. There's singers everywhere. There's people that sing better than you, but you on top. So what made you that unique? Like these
see,
people are obviously seen as unique individuals to be
mm-hmm,
high, to be put on the pedestal. So like
right.
But at the end of the day, they really just regular, regular people that have talents. But everybody
Mm-hmm.
got, well, it's just,
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's more of a societal thing.
mm,
Um, and also it's more like subjective. Like two people, like fucking, let me see, like Jimi Hendrix could be sitting next to me playing the guitar, and I could be playing the guitar, right? And we could, and obviously Jimi Hendrix is a better guitar player than me, but you could ask two people, yo, which sound did you like better? And some people could say me, and they're technically not wrong, right? Because it's a subjective thing. But in reality, Jimi Hendrix is a better the guitar player than
he don't.
me.
Uh,
But the subjectiveness of it is like anything. It kind of takes away the uniqueness, if you will, to a degree, because anybody can be a star, kind of sort of.
no, right.
We've seen it a lot in the music in the music industry, like recently, where a lot of people be like, how the fuck did such and such even get this big? Like
Yep.
they can't rap. Like
Bro.
but somebody likes it. Somebody likes it. So I don't even think talent necessarily separates you from being put in a group though. Because even then, there's people who do things that are really, really amazing, and you're
Right.
not the only one that does it amazing. When we talk about sports or something like that, right? We always argue who's better, Jordan or LeBron, right? As great as Michael Jordan is, as great as LeBron is, nobody's definitively saying like, "Oh, this is the best I've ever seen," and like nobody compares. Like they're still in a group, regardless of how great they are as individuals or in comparison to the average person. They're still amazing people that you can be compared to, which I wouldn't say necessarily takes away from your uniqueness because they're great in like individual ways,
Mhm.
but the concept of them just being great at basketball, it's like you're not the only one that's great at basketball. There's, you know, a bunch of other people that's great and kind of sort of on your level too.
But wouldn't that be the unique characteristics?
Yeah, but we're talking about like individual. You asked me about the individualness of it, right? Like there's not just like you can't just be in that 1% because even in that 1%, there's other people in the 1% with you. You understand what I mean?
People, okay, so, and people, don't you identify these people as NBA basketball players, like top tier,
Yeah,
right? Like the natural identity.
yeah.
So it's like, if there are other people doing the same thing, how is this a unique characteristic? Or how is this your only, like, is it their only identity? Because in our eyes, I feel like it is.
Probably.
Because I don't,
I mean, not necessarily. No, I would say that's actually something that they fight to not have as a stigma, even as an artist, right? Like a
okay.
musician, they don't even want you to box them in because they want to be an artist. Like, yeah, I want to try different shit. Like, I know this is probably controversial to bring up at this moment in time, but somebody like Kanye West, right? Kanye is he's an artist, like
You could,
musically. I don't know, but he's like the person that like fits this mold, right?
okay.
Like musically, Kanye has experimented with different genres of music, right? You can't just say he's a rapper because he has a gospel album. He has a auto tune album, like, you know what I mean? And then outside of his music, he does fashion, he did business, and a bunch of other different things. So he's not just a rapper. He's not just a musician. And for the basketball players or anybody else for that matter, a lot of people don't want to just be boxed into one thing. They want to be fluid. Like I said earlier, you want your identity to be able to be fluid. Being boxed into one thing prevents you from opening
Mm-hmm.
other doors or experiencing other opportunities because people only look at you as this thing, so they don't think you can thrive or flourish in another setting.
Hmm. That's valid. Okay. So identity is fluid. That's just one of them things because I know everybody has that mindset of I don't want to just be this one thing.
Yeah.
Right. Boring. Nobody is okay with, being only one thing and only doing that one thing. And I've never seen nobody like that. Well, not in this generation. But okay. So it's fluid.
Yeah.
So we are saying that depending on which, I don't want to keep using the word community, but depending on which circle that you are in, the identity switches up. No matter, like in every different environment, you develop a new identity.
Yes.
So we're the same person. So we just walk around with the same name, but different aspects about ourselves and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that blows my mind a little bit. So okay. I like what you said. So I'm one of the people. I'm definitely one of the people. That's why I can't sit still on one thing. I can't focus on one thing. I get bored easily, right? Mm-hmm. So that is why I'd like to be in everything and, try to dip my toe in a little bit of everything. So I'm not just, I want to be what do you call that thing? A jack of all trades?
Mm-hmm.
That's me. So is there never no overall one identity? Is it just your name that is your overall thing? Yeah. But even everybody got the same name. Like not everybody, but people got the same name out there. Especially me. Right. I want names. Like what? I'm my stomach hurts.
All right. No, it's cool. We're gonna take a little break in a second.
Okay. Because I'm just trying to
You want to take the break now?
You know what? Yeah, let me gather my. We'll run this back in a second.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more of the HolloTalk podcast after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the HolloTalk podcast. We are back. You guys are doing your little jig.
Yeah, like I got my mind together.
All right, cool. So, before we left, we was having a conversation about identity, our what's the word episode. It's been good so far, but we got more to talk about. So to carry on the conversation with identity, right? I do think another point to bring up is people's perception also shapes identity in a way that you probably don't even realize, right? Like the way people see you or the way people put you in certain boxes or whatever the case may be, that you kind of can't even escape it because there's nothing that you can do necessarily to control whatever the perception is that these people have of you.
Right.
Which is kind of, what word do I want to use? It kind of sucks. For
lack of a better word. Yeah, but you're right. It do. You said you don't, wait, you said that we can't change the perceptions people have of us?
Not necessarily, no. It's been a lot of things that people have done in order to change the perception that people have of them and have been very unsuccessful at it. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't necessarily control what people do or how people feel about you necessarily. You can only make attempts to change it, not necessarily saying that those attempts will rectify that change, though.
When we talk about people's perception of you shapes your identity, are you saying like if somebody tells me, oh, I'm about to use this thing from Friends, you know how Rachel was like, my whole life people been telling me I'm a shoe, but what if I don't want to be a shoe? What if I want to be a bag? Like so you telling me because she said I was a shoe, in my head it stamps that I'm a shoe, or after a while it does stamp.
Yeah,
like it takes that. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I got a story for y'all, and it's not messy, but it's messy. I really hope my friend don't hear this.
Well, don't say nobody's name, yo.
Oh, of course not. I was having a conversation with my friend. And he was telling me that, his partner, his wife or whatever, kept accusing him of, certain things. And in order not, and he was never that, but in order to like not make her a liar, and because you thought I was that, I became that. Like, and I said, that's insane how somebody saying something to you influenced you to do exactly what they were saying. When you didn't have to, because that wasn't necessarily you. And I'm just like, we saying this perception thing is insane.
Yeah,
Bro,
I just thought about something.
please, God, say yes.
I gotta get the same disclaimer you gave. It's messy, but it ain't messy.
Okay.
So for me, right? This is something that's not new to you, but this
Uh-huh.
might be new to the listeners. Is so like I've like everybody else, I've been in relationships that ain't work out, right?
Uh-huh.
And as far as I'm concerned, like I think that I've been like a pretty good dude in those
Yeah.
relationships, right?
Right.
And they just haven't worked out for whatever the reason may be, right? But there
Uh-huh.
have been moments where I thought to myself, like, damn, like what's the point of being this good guy in these relationships if it ain't gonna work? I'm thinking about being a hoe. I'm thinking about being a hoe.
Gasp.
And for me, gasp. For me, that's not a natural thing. Like that's not like something that I like. Yo, like I'm like, that's me as a person. I'm not really that, right? Not saying like I couldn't just go and do whatever, but innately that's not me, right? So some people perceive me as like, damn, like like I thought you had the, I thought you had the chicks. I listen, I like one woman at a time for the most part. Like, that's what I get into, but that could change my identity, if you will. I'm not that, but those experiences or people's perceptions of thinking like, damn, I thought you was outside. Like
I
that
did.
now I might be, saying I might be outside.
Yo, that's crazy. It's so crazy how people really do stuff like that, but don't understand the effects they words be having on individuals.
Thanks.
Like, dog, like blame them. And this is why my whole entire family suffers, because I blame them. But my whole life, everybody's like, she's so mean. Because as a kid, I ain't smile, but I got smile before. Like, even now. But I be like, she's so mean. And now I feel like I've developed this mean personality, or like this, like now that's me. Because now you saying it's me, it's me. And now they gotta deal with it. But that's what I'm saying.
Now they
Like,
gotta
it's
deal with
one of them
that.
things. So watch what you say to people. Like, you gonna have to put up with it. Like, it's gonna be one of them things. But damn, who would have thought? Yo, do you think?
Go ahead, come on, let's get into it. I
Now
like
we're
it.
thinking about it. So as kids, right? When people have told us stuff, right? Even other kids to other kids, does that shape our identity too?
Absolutely,
Like
absolutely, absolutely.
I'm coming off
No,
that.
actually, to be honest, in a way, I feel like that is even the most important time for your identity to be shaped, when you're like a pre-adolescent, or like,
Like really impressionable.
yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
like that's one of those things where you probably don't know well enough, like personally, to make these certain types of decisions, or like know what you should do or shouldn't do, or
Right.
whatever the case is, right? So you have to rely on people who you would assume know better than you to
Right.
lead you to to lead you to a place where you become self-sufficient. Now, if you don't have people in your life that are self-sufficient themselves to teach you what self-sufficiency looks like, then that's when you start having these conversations of broken homes and all those things, which is a whole nother conversation that we're going to have at some point. So
Yeah.
I don't want to go all the way into that
Right.
on this episode, but that's where that kind of comes from, that, and that's what you get shaped as. Now, some people have triumphed and became better people through different experiences that they've experienced, coming from those, humble beginnings, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Some people haven't, right? some people have adapted to that environment, if you will. Like they became a part of that same broken system. Whereas on the other hand, some people have flourished being in a position where they were able to flourish. You come from rich family, you come from people who know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to finances or whatever. They teach you the game. Now you good. Some people don't got the luxury of doing that. So it's kind of like a heads and tails kind of thing. It's like a flip of a coin. And the crazy thing is, you don't get to decide where you come from.
That'd be
you
the
don't
worst part of it all.
get to decide, like at least at that age, you truly don't really get to decide, at least in most cases, where those influences come from. These
Right.
are things you're born into. You can't pick the family that you're born into. You can't pick where you're born. You can't, all that type of stuff. You can't pick where you grow up. You can't pick who you grow up around, like until you become self-sufficient enough to make those decisions.
Is that why people be like, you are a product of your environment and we
Yes.
are a product of our environment? Like
Yes.
it's one of the things you can't really change is what I've learned, what I've grown up to be. So that's why it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our experience is built, shape well, we already knew our experience is shaped a little bit because all right. That's wild though. So do you think now I like the idea that we already said identity is fluid, right?
Yes.
But we develop certain parts of our identity that we have to let go.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Is that wait? Hold on, pause. Is that a part of our next episode, or should I expand?
It can be, but it's also applicable to this conversation. So you got all systems go.
Okay, cool. So I was going to get into how those bad traits of our characteristics, like things that we have already adapted, and that's us, and we are fluid. You know what's weird is it doesn't seem like the bad traits go away. I feel like it follows you in anything. But then I'm like, don't we have to unlearn it at some point, or like trade them, switch them out, or different things? How does that work? Like, but
are you looking for an answer, or is that a rhetorical question?
Or just I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so I mean I don't want you to like to think that I got all the answers, Sway, but
you have the
no, I mean, this is just something that like I think about, or like things that I think deeply about. So I'm only speaking on these experiences through what I've thought about, conversations I've had with people, and all of those type of things. Not saying I have concrete answers. You have to listen to everything that I'm saying specifically. Only thing I ask people to do from listening to these conversations is if it makes sense to you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
okay.
if it don't, you don't gotta listen. Like our word isn't law. Like
right.
We're only just providing a perspective that you
Right.
may have not thought about, and opening conversations that you may want to have either on this platform, another platform, in your house, to yourself, whatever. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Of letting go of the traits.
Oh yeah, I got you. So I don't really know what the process is of trying to like let go of those traits, or build better traits in place of those bad traits. I kind of would assume that it comes with just your experience that you go through in life, right? Like, for instance, if you touch the hot stove, you don't touch it again, nigga, because the shit is hot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just the experience. Like,
right.
I could tell you so much, like, don't touch the stove, it's hot, my nigga. Like, and you just so hard headed to touch it, and then you touch it, and then you be like, I burned myself. Well, I tried to tell you that, but now you know though, because you went through that experience. I think that's kind of what it is. Like, you having those I don't want to call it bad traits, but bad traits, and then you substitute them for better traits, whatever that looks like.
Can traits actually be substituted? Like, when I think of substitute, it's taken out and like gone, right? Like it's however, we've already discussed that based on where we're at in the environment we're in, we develop certain like traits of ourselves. So say wherever we develop them negative traits at, if we go back there, that's when them negative traits start to come out. So it's
Um,
like you go to a
hmm.
good place.
That's a great question actually. I would say yeah. I'm leaning towards no
Ooh,
more than yes because I think that comes with discipline, that comes with self-awareness, that comes with not wanting to experience those negative things that you experienced in those places, right? Like the only thing I could think of like that would be a respectable example that people can understand is like people who have addictions or like let's say a drinking problem, right? Like
okay.
if you had a drinking problem or something like that, that's universally known as a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, you go through the process of healing from that addiction. You go through the process of becoming better and not having to rely on drinking alcohol, right?
Right.
Now you get to a point where you've been sober for however long or whatever the case, and you go out to a club or something like that. It's alcohol everywhere. Not saying that the temptation isn't there. It's more so of you leaning into that temptation. Some people are strong enough to not do it. Some people could be like, yeah, I could go to a club and be around drinks and not have one. Some people like, nigga, I can't do that at all. Like, I can't. I need all the alcohol gone because if it's around, I'm going to drink. So I do think that's more of a person to person thing than anything.
So you're saying if you don't have the characteristic of being resilient,
Yeah,
of
being
of
disciplined,
yeah, then
then
ain't
then then then
no
you
way.
can't then you can't be in that in an environment like that where that environment preceded you to have a bad character trait.
Okay. 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 So what happens when it's funny how everything connects. But so we already talked about developing things at a young age, right?
Yeah.
So say you go to Disneyland, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you like 8, and for some reason Disneyland got a goddamn rides. But say you get trapped in a store, right?
Right.
Or something traumatic happens to you at Disneyland. Going back into that environment is going to be traumatic for you, ain't it? So ain't it going to put you back into them negative things that you have, that feeling of being scared, that fear, that everything that you have fought to stay out of, right? So that never
Mm-hmm.
happens again. When put back in that environment, doesn't that bring everything back?
I mean, it can. I don't like
So
again. I don't really feel like it's a universal thing though. Like I don't feel like
really for specific
that's
people.
yeah. Some people could just like go through a traumatic experience and it don't have no kind of like attachment to you. Like it was all right. That was something I went through or whatever. Like it was what it was. It was just an experience. Some people like really hold on to these things and it's like, yo, I can't get over this shit until like I do the work to get over it.
But then it's not traumatic.
I mean, that's not. I won't say it's not traumatic. Like all right, let's do something that's like universally understood, right? So like a relationship, for instance, right?
Okay.
Everybody is going to experience heartbreak at some point in their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you go through the traumatic experience of a heartbreak, it can either make or break you, right?
Facts.
You could go through this heartbreak and dwell into a deep depression and maybe never get out of it. Or some people go through heartbreak and it's like, oh well, I mean, that wasn't for me. Like on to the next one.
Yeah.
But it's still a heartbreak though. Like the experience is still a heartbreak. But some people just more resilient than others. But I think that also goes into the identity thing too. What we're talking about. Like if your identity is just wrapped up in a relationship, then yeah, it might be harder for you to transition from not being in it to you just being by yourself. Whereas some people who have a strong individual identity can just be like, all right, like I'm still like a dope person. Like somebody else would be attracted to me, and we could, you know what I
All
mean?
right. Yeah. Okay. So I understand your perspective. I see where you're coming from.
I don't know. That's just what makes sense to me. I don't know if that's true or false or whatever, but
I'm just
it
assuming.
makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're one of the people that could be like, all right, it is what it is. It happened.
I mean,
What like
sometimes I guess. I mean, shit.
you talking about? Sometimes I know him for real. Like, okay, all right, I get that. I feel you on that. So it has to do with certain. Okay, so okay, then there's a unique thing about that person or about these specific individuals that do that. I
Yeah.
guess or react like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so boom out for everybody who acts like that. There is your unique characteristic, right? But okay, okay, okay. All right. When I'm saying okay like this, it's really sitting in my head because I'm. You ever try to reevaluate yourself
Yes.
that you have learned? Because it's like, damn, okay,
I've been doing that this whole episode.
bro, and that's why my head hurts. Yep, yep. Now I gotta do some soul searching after this because, be for real, some things have changed my way of thinking, which is okay because I actually to explore different perspectives and views on things, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, saying all that to say is like I just think that having a strong sense of individual identity prevents you from experiencing like the trials and tribulations of bad experience. Not okay, that sounded crazy actually. Like not prevent you from going through the trials and tribulations, but I guess it makes it, I don't even want to say easier because I feel like some people might be like that shit was hard as fuck, but I'm still resilient. I don't know. I don't know how I want to say what I'm trying to say, but
Like, try,
cause I don't feel like I want to like offend anybody's experience going through shit. Cause like
you're not talking directly to people, and you are expressing your point of view, but for lack of better words, for anybody listening, it's not to offend, but please go ahead and elaborate.
having a strong sense of individual identity allows you the ability to be self-reliant. Like
Ooh,
at the end of it all, like not to say like you being self-reliant is a bad thing, good thing, whatever the case may be. All I'm saying is when it comes down to it, the only person you can depend on is you. Like at the end of the day. Like I don't it don't matter how strong your support system is, and but not to say that don't mean nothing. I wish everybody got a strong support system, but there's gonna be moments in time where you can't rely on them. The only person that you want to see when you look in the mirror at the end of the day is you. So therefore, you being self-reliant on you to be able to get yourself through these traumatic experiences or to be happy when you have joyous experiences, that's all you can really, really, really rely on. Some people might be there and be happy for you. Some people might be fake happy for you. The only person that can be really happy for you was you.
right.
And to be quite honest, that's really the only person that matters. Now, some people put a lot of emphasis into other people's opinions and other people's emotions to what they do or who they are as people, and that's cool. And we all do it. That's the whole sense of us wanting to be a part of a community, be a part of a culture,
Right.
be a part of a group or whatever the case may be. But when you look in the mirror, the only person you're going to see is you, yo. Like that's the only person you're going to be looking back at. So you yourself have to find it in yourself to be happy with who you are. Be happy with the identity that you built for you. Now, how that translates into how you deal with other people, how that translates into you fitting in with the community or whatever the case may be, that's fine. That's dandy. But you got to be okay with it when you're not with that community or you're not with that group of people. You got to just be happy with what you see in the mirror at the end of the night.
So what we say when you are like not up by your lonesome, but who you are behind closed doors is who you truly are. People say that. So is that
Yeah, essentially. Cause again, like when we talk about code switching and shit like that, like not
mm,
like that's not necessarily who you really are. That's who
Right.
you that's who you need to be in that environment.
Right. Right.
You understand
Okay.
what I mean? Because
Right.
I know for sure you ain't talking like that when you in the when you in the crib. You feel what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying that code switching ain't something that you might need to do or whatever the case may be, but for you to say that's who you are, yeah, that's a stretch, my man. Like,
Oh, that's valid. That was a good way to put it. Okay. So your authentic self is behind closed doors. And
mm-hmm.
that's so bad. Okay, so mm,
I, I felt it. I felt it. I felt it.
off
I felt it. Go ahead.
you did.
I did.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Crazy. Okay, so behind closed doors. Now I understand that. Now there is some specific few, and this is what I choose to think as for myself, right? I don't necessarily have a behind closed doors personality.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you get what you get off of what I think you need to receive.
Yep.
Right. So those that go watch YouTube, my eyeball hurt. But okay. So there is this sort of front people put on. Like
Of
there's
course.
we already established, identity is fluid.
Yeah.
But people sometimes put themselves in positions in which they know they aren't happy with a certain identity, but they need to establish it because of certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Do we consider that an actual identity because they're living it? Or is it
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
is it acting? Well, you're not getting paid for it, so it's not really acting. But like, what is that? What is that part of you that you are forcing out of you because you have to? Or you just front mash you?
I don't know. I truly don't know what that is. And it's interesting that you bring that up too, because if I'm being completely honest, I find that to be very, very sad that you can't unapologetically be yourself in
Right.
every situation because of the perception that people have of of who you might be or 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 how uncomfortable it makes them being who you are. Like I don't know. I don't know.
What?
I don't
Yo,
know.
yo, ain't it?
I
So
don't
then
know.
who? Oh my God. So that brings the question of who are you? Because you're not that. Like, you're not that. No, that's not something that you want to be. It's something that you have to be. So, like, oh, I got another question too. Oh my God. I hate when my brain does this. This is
This
a part of my
this
switch up
what
a lot.
this what makes good content. The real shit is the good shit.
All right. So I feel like we've discussed it before. Can we take? I know we already said identity is fluid, right? That's a number one thing we're gonna take away from this podcast.
Right.
Identity is, but from people that we have experienced in our lives, right? We see our parents and then we see our what do you call them? Grandparents. Whoa.
What do you
Whoa.
call them? What? What?
Our grandparents, right? We see older individuals who are now stuck in these ways. What is that? I know you say it's fluid, but like when you can't get somebody to come outside of their way of thinking, what is that? Like, is that just the mentality? Mentality of that? What?
Mentality.
Come on.
Mentality.
Yeah, I'm person. I'm sorry, but is that the mentality they hold, or is it they refuse to switch up specific things? Like, what age do you get to that you be like, all right, I'm not
I
about
don't fucking know.
Is that you unapologetically being yourself, or is it
I
like
mean, I don't know. Like I feel like it's a lot of factors that allow you the chance to truly be who you are at any point in your life, right? One of those things I would say is money. Money is something that allows you or prevents you from being who you are, truly, right? Because, for instance, like in the workplace, some things might not be deemed appropriate or whatever the case, right? So you can't be whatever you like, whatever you want to be that's deemed inappropriate in the workplace because you got to get your paper, right? So you got to code switch. You got to become somebody else who you aren't really are to make sure you get your paper. Then if you got paper, you it don't matter who the fuck think what. Nigga, I'm rich. Like I'm gonna be me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of different things. Some people just don't care. Like I'm just gonna be me, and whatever the result is of me being me in this situation, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm not compromising anything to make you feel comfortable or to make myself deemed to be acceptable in whatever the environment is that you in. Some people don't give up.
Two is is changing up yourself for the comfortability of other people.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I understand it, but I don't. I don't think it's applicable to a lot of different situations. Honestly, I think you should be you, and you know, force the world to adjust. Not force the world to adjust. That's too strong. Just be yourself and not really necessarily care what everybody
yeah,
else's perception is of you. Not
yeah.
force the word. That was too strong. I'm gonna sit here and let you think about what's going on because I see it. I see the wheels turning.
Oh my gosh. Yo, I think it's only hitting me like this because I did not think this was this deep.
Oh,
I did not.
extremely deep.
I really wish there was actually really more conversations like this because let's get into some real stuff that everybody's battling internally because
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. Um, all these different things really come into play when it come to you as a person. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know we all sitting here thinking I'm my own person, nobody gonna change me, nobody gonna do that or this, but no actuality, a lot of things are affecting you right now that made you
That you
this.
don't even know. You don't
Right,
even know it.
right. And it's just it's one of them things that's just really one absolutely blown away. Because damn, let's be
Yeah.
for real. Like I can't. We function every day based off of everyday things. Like for real. Like why is this life? Like why? I somebody just typed my codes into a computer and then I was born. Like this, I'm influenced by everything.
Yes.
And it's
It's, I'll put it to you like this, right? The the two things that I think are innate in everybody, as far as like a need or a want, is a need for community and a need for relationship. Now, when I say relationship, I mean friendship as well as romantic relationship also.
are we going based off of Maslow's hierarchy of needs or are we going based off of what
I,
we individually
I'm not even going off of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm just going off of what I've experienced in life and what I've seen throughout my journey. The two things that people truly need when it comes to interacting with other people is community and relationship. Belonging to something is extremely important to people.
because they made it important.
I mean, that could be the case. I'm not going to go as far as to say that because I don't think I have the necessary knowledge to say that's a concrete fact.
Why not? Are you not existing on the same planet that I am?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I can't speak for the experience of other people to say that that's a concrete fact amongst the general population. What I can say for me is I've seen and I've experienced personally that community and relationship are two of the most important things, if not the most important things, to people when it comes to interacting and dealing with other people. Now, somebody might be like, I don't need to be around nobody else. I like to be by myself, this, that, and the third. That's cool. I respect it. But for the majority, I think community and relationship is very, very important to people. Being able to
Uh,
belong to something is important.
no, right. But like, forget the people that come out their face and be like, I don't need people. In no actuality,
Yeah, I get it, I understand it, but I just don't think that that's a true statement
Right.
to a degree.
The stress, the stress.
Why is this stressful?
It's stressful because now you got to reevaluate yourself, right? Because in my head, I've always thought that you are your own person. Like you built yourself up this way, bro. Ain't nobody gonna have to say they made you this way. But you know, certain aspects about yourself came from other places. But I'm like, I
Facts.
did everything like this has influenced me. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sitting here like, damn. Now I want to take a break from social media. Now I want to be alone. Now I need to figure out who I really am on the inside. Like, you know, yo, you remember the things they had us doing?
Go
Not
ahead.
really
I'm listening. Let's get to it.
of the who are you and who am I? Like when we was like, I don't know if you ever did this in high school, but I remember they had us writing poetry of like
Yes.
who I am or who, and it was the hardest thing for people to write because everybody was like, well, I don't know where to start. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't, what am I supposed to be writing here? Like, and then like it came up from everything internally, right? Like, of okay, I'm this type of person, but I'm also this. Like they
Mm-hmm.
had us do that, like, hey, and I'm just like, damn. And if I was to look at them papers now, I'm not that person no more. So like,
Because it's fluid.
I'm at, let's really talk about it. Damn,
Yeah.
damn.
It's an interesting concept. Like when you really just sit and you think about all the things that you don't know affect you in the ways that it do. Like like this identity thing is something that's going to continue to change for a lot of people, and the identity that we have now may not be the identity that we have 20 years from now or even a year from now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I it's just a matter of fact. Like I'm not saying nothing that ain't been proven or that you can't see with your own two eyes or four eyes if you wear glasses.
Or eyes if you wear glasses. You could. You wrong. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But you're right. You're right. And that's the crazy thing about it. You are so right. Like, let's look back just a small bit, right? Um, when we was in college, right? We had after we graduated, I'm pretty sure we were these specific type of people, but I feel like everything after that has changes. Let's just talk about COVID kind of hit, and I feel like that switched everybody's identity, everybody's personality
Absolutely.
that we knew. Everybody's a different person. Everybody can't nobody on here come on here and say that they are not different because after COVID happened. You are
Mm-hmm.
completely have to change
For
your
real.
whole reality about everything because shit hit you like you know, I sit around and I think a lot about who I used to be like when I met you
Mm-hmm.
and today. And there's a significant difference. Like I'm very much self-aware, so I know when I have changed my mind about something and when I'm cool with that.
Right.
Like, damn, I never would have thought like I would have made such significant like anything could have impacted me that bad. Or like I don't want to say that good or anything could have influenced come who I am today. Like I didn't think that I was that different of a person. I was like, I've always been like this. I love to use that. If you know me, I've always been like this. I've never changed. What's up? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
always been me, but like that's cat, bro. That's cat. That's cat. Like I am different every day. Like I'm sad now.
Not sad. Come on.
I'm not sad. I'm overwhelmed because now my brain is on 10,000. Like
It's cool.
to the point I
We
cannot.
gonna we gonna take a break in a second. Actually, you want to take the break now and get your thoughts together before we continue.
Yes, it's just
All
stress.
right, all right, all right. We gonna be back in a second, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you being along for this hell of a ride. This shit is. we'll, we'll be right back with more of the HolloTalk podcast. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the HolloTalk podcast with Jetpack Nick and Dope Queen as we discuss what's the word, and that word is identity. So, Dope Queen.
All right.
Let's
So,
just get right into it. Go ahead.
sure, yeah, jump right into it. I had some thoughts while we were on break, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started thinking about labels. There are some characteristics we cannot shake when it is placed upon us,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know how in schools, I want to say administrators, faculty and staff would love to put labels on specific kids, right? And even the
Yeah.
label of this child has ADHD or this kid is autistic, right? Like some of the labels you can't shake. That becomes you because people paint this in like people's perception paints this entire identity through this one
Mm-hmm.
specific label. And
Right.
let's get people that like people who have been incarcerated, right? We look at people who are technically murderers, right? They have murdered somebody, right? But what is the point of rehabilitation if we are still going to hold them to that label? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we still gonna keep looking at them as like that, right? So it makes me think that people can't, like, although we already identified identity is fluid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could change out of that. You could take yourself
Mm-hmm.
out of that. You should be able to take yourself out of that identity, right? You should be able to, but people's words and what people put onto you really sticks with you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
in society, they make it hard for you to shake certain things. Like you can't go nowhere without registering yourself as a certain type of person. Or you can't your ID labels you as this person, as a specific person, right? So now
Right.
that's your identity, right? Because your ID won't say certain things on it, right? So you can't shake that because when you got to give your ID to somebody, that's what they're gonna go off of. You know what I'm saying? And so that's
Mm-hmm.
what they are now identifying you with. So it's just it bothers me, right? When we put things onto people that they can't shake, because now your identity, now you're not fluid in your identity, because now we all gonna look at you like, oh, you're like you're a crackhead, bro. People already started calling you a crackhead. You're Pookie, bro. You're on the block. That's you. Like you the dude on the corner, or like you got ADHD. Now we gonna think you forever got a learning disability. You got a
Mm-hmm.
problem. You know what I'm saying? Or you're autistic. So now we know you move a certain way. So now we gonna talk to you and act a certain way towards you because of this label. And it's beyond me, bro. And they do it to black people. Like I'm not even about to sit here and sugarcoat anything. They do that. Like we already got stereotypes like, connected to who we are as individuals. So people start. I don't mind identifying black. Don't get me wrong, but like I'm saying, like it's in everything. There's certain labels you can't shake, even though that's not a choice, right? It's not a choice for us. It's certain things that y'all stick to these labels that make it hard to shake it from your identity. So now it becomes you. And I feel like that's a different topic for a different day because I can really go deep into.
No, so that's actually something that holds a lot of weight. Um, in a lot of cases, at least from what I've seen, people's labels of you,
Mm-hmm.
that tends to hold more weight for a longer period of time than what your actions actually show,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
Like I don't really want to get too much into the race conversation, but even with the race conversation, like the whole conversation or perception or label was forever black people are savages or whatever
Right.
the case, right? Not
Yeah.
not not even taking into account that historically speaking, that's not the you know what I mean? Like that's not the case. But that label has preceded the actions of what you've seen. So no matter where you go in the world, you as a black person is treated a lot differently than anybody else, even in countries that populate black people. Like,
Yo, but I feel the same way about them like being autistic and being whatever. Like what happens when, because it's been done where people have labeled you something wrong because that's what
mm,
they think in their head, right?
all right,
With absolutely no credibility to ever diagnose anybody, but still do it, right? So now you're walking around with a label that's not even you. Now it's on
exactly.
paper you are this type of person, and now that follows you, what happens then? Now I can't shake that. Now you have put that monkey on my back. Now I have to walk around with it. Like, I'm so sorry, I scared my dog. But like, let's be for real now, y'all. Like, some things y'all really be doing. Like oh, good example. You know how something happens with a female, now she a hoe. Now I gotta walk around with this title of a hoe when all I did
was, that ain't even the case.
Yeah, that's nothing really like, yeah. So now it's not that. Like, y'all be putting these heavy labels on the people. Some labels really is heavier than the next, because some of them you could shake, some of them you could change, but you
That's
can't
a fact.
really walk away from some of them, because now I'm looking at you as that. You spread it around that everybody else looking at me as that. So now I can't change the mind of other people. So now in my head, I have to either accept the fact that y'all gonna call me that, or like I'm gonna be forever fighting to hold my name up. Like, and it's
exactly.
I don't really like that.
And you know, and one of the things that I like to say people have is the audacity.
Bruh.
Like, you got the audacity to label me this, that, or third, or question me as a person, or why I do what I do, or whatever the case may be, when you the culprit of all the shit you labeling me as, or you the culprit of all the shit that you associate me with. Like, you know, that's a you problem, my guy. Like, you got it's the what they say is the audacity. Like,
bro, the abundance of audacity is floating around in the air right now, and everybody caught it. Like, it's crazy too, and that's crazy. You just said you are everything that you are trying to for me. So it brings me back to, like, okay, identity is fluid, but like everything that people's I just thought about something. So
I did too, but go ahead.
Oh, it's crazy. Stop doing that, because I maybe because we felt through the phone, but chill out. You give me but like, you know how people like will spew things they know that's already inside of them onto other people, because I don't know. I can't even say because I'm not about to do that. But you know how people be homophobic after they've done homophobic shit. Like, now you are all these horrible things, but on the inside, that person that's spewing all that homophobic and negative shit about you is the same person that is homophobic.
So it's I was like, about to go. I was about to go there too.
Not the pot calling the kettle black. Like, that's so crazy to me.
That's
like,
where I was about to go. So to even break that down further, like just the whole concept of what we're talking about, I think that comes from people trying to see what's socially acceptable before they associate themselves with that thing. So like, if somebody is spewing things on you to be like, oh, he's this or she's that or whatever, right? I think they put that out there to see if the like, you're gonna get the backlash or the brunt of whatever it is. And if you don't, then now, okay, it's comfortable for me to be this or think this or say this. But they don't want to be on the front line to say that I think this, I want to say this, I want to represent this, because you might get the backlash. But they see somebody else get the backlash, or they see somebody else get the praise, then they know how to move accordingly from you being on the front line instead of them.
That's crazy, y'all. Like, is this camera on me? Y'all, that's crazy. Stop doing that. Like, oh my God, when I tell you that's beyond me. And that's why people live these closeted lives. So that's why you really are only you behind closed doors, bro. Behind these social media accounts are not the same. And it's like, damn, y'all not the individuals with the fluid. I cannot put everybody in that category. That's what I cannot do. I cannot say everybody is fluid in that. I feel like everybody has this fake persona they put on, and it's just one of them things. I think that is so crazy.
And most of the time, it's not even necessary. It's not.
It's not, though, especially when times is different. Like, people today still do all that, and I think I'm like, look at the world we live in, bro. Just look at how many things. Look at this OnlyFans thing that's accepted. You think people care that you're gay? Like, it's that validation thing, bro. It's you need to be validated by your community first before you could like do anything. And I think
Exactly.
that's where the problem really lies. Like you want to be accepted so bad that you do things like this.
But
And then what does that say about you as a person?
but that's why I made it a serious point to say that that's cool to put emphasis into people's opinions about you because everybody seeks validation to some degree,
Yeah.
right? But when it comes down to it, they're not going to be looking back at you in the mirror when you look in the mirror.
Right.
It's going to be you. You yourself as an individual have to be okay with who you are, regardless of how other people perceive it, receive it, or whatever the case may be. That
Ooh, I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
doesn't matter. No, go.
I think that's where we get celebrities from, bro. I think those are the people that genuinely can go either way and not care. You gotta have one of the mindsets where you do not care what people think and or gonna say about you. That's the unique characteristic. Cause it's rare nowadays. As much as people want to say, I don't care, they can talk about you all
There
they
you
like.
go.
Cap.
There
Some
you
part of
go.
you cares. Celebrities don't give it like people hire out
Well,
and like
some of them.
some of them. Some of them gonna react to certain things, but like for majority, like for in my head, I'm like, people not gonna make it that far because you gotta step out of comfort zones. You gotta jump out of comfort zones to be
Mhm.
top. So it'd be like, oh snap. Like y'all develop that trait of where nobody's opinion matters. You know, like it's gonna matter at a certain point because people are not gonna
Mhm.
support you.
Right,
People
right.
support people support confidence. So it's one of them things. Watch it real quick, open up, and people just gonna be attracted to your space.
I, I,
Like
I
just
I've said this. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I definitely said this like in regular conversations. I've always said that if you lead in confidence, you'll be surprised how many people follow. Because think of it. Think of it like this, right? Like you go in any situation, or like in school for that matter, right? Like ain't nobody want to get up and speak in front of the class. Like
fact,
nobody wanted to do this shit, right?
facts.
I don't care how popular you was, how kind, like whatever. Nobody wanted to do this shit. So the whole thought process of like if I was to tell a kid like in school, like I would say just get up and read your shit. Like everybody else is nervous. Like you being nervous isn't gonna like change anything. You being confident and just going up there and delivering your speech or whatever it is you got to read or present, go do that shit. One, they're too nervous to even care what the fuck you're saying. That's
They,
number one.
facts. They probably still doing their work. Get ready for
Exactly.
the presentation.
Exactly. Like, and two, the only person that you need to impress might not even be listening to you. So like just go up there and be confident in what you're saying or the whole idea is just be confident in going through life. Like I know that's easier said than done because
Facts.
people put a lot of emphasis in other people's perceptions and other people's opinions about them and what may be acceptable, what may not be acceptable, which can derail confidence. But when you think about everybody else is probably feeling the same way too, they might just not they might not just have the the gall to be like, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I think, this is what I listen to, this is what I eat, whatever like everybody is nervous about these things. So the best thing you could do to stand out if you want to be that individual is be confident, like Dope Queen said.
Is that the answer?
As simple as that. I mean, I think that's the start. I don't know if that's the answer, like completely, but that's definitely the start, though.
Yes.
Being confident is the start.
Yes. Yes. And let's just see how far that gets you. Like all I can say is
Hey,
just really
it,
step
it,
out.
it will get you so far.
Bro.
Like, like just being in a place where everybody is hesitant and not too sure of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You will be surprised how many people you motivate, how many people you inspire, how many people you influence just by leading in confidence. Fake it till you make it, or really be confident as long as you show some confidence.
Bruh. Yo, even on the days where you feel like what? Or was it Rihanna or was it Megan? It don't matter. One of the top beautiful individuals
Mm-hmm.
said, even on the days when I don't feel the hottest, I'm still gonna walk in like I'm the hottest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna be there. Like, and I think, I mean, I know we all can't have that mentality because
Right.
the system is built a certain way where you need
Mm-hmm.
people to look up. But I'm telling you, add that to your identity or add it as a personality trait of yours. Like
Yeah.
add it somewhere. It's going to change all perspectives of a lot of things, bro.
Yeah. Confidence has gotten a lot of people things that they may have not necessarily been qualified for or thought that they was qualified for.
Bruh. Bruh.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in relationships right now who all because they had some confidence walking up to him or her saying, "I like you, I want to date you."
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's a Snapple fact.
No, for real. Like, damn.
That is a
Like,
Snapple
man,
fact.
that's crazy. It's okay to need you, though. I ain't even. It's okay to want to be around and want to be accepted. But
Of
like,
course, of course.
gotta understand like everything don't come from people around you. If that's the case, then they built you, and that means they can break you down. And that that definitely is not the way to go because people will discard you and treat you like trash, and then you can be wondering how you ended up here, sad as hell.
Yep. Yeah, the power starts and ends with you as an individual. Again, I've said it a million times already in this one episode, but at the end of the day, when you look in that mirror, you is the only person that's gonna be looking back at yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
you be okay with who you are. All the validation, the external validation or whatever, that's cool and all that, but don't let that be the priority or the be all end all to how you feel about yourself, which shapes you as a person and how you go through life.
Wow.
It's not, you know.
He's talking about.
You know what I'm saying? Say this regular, you know what I mean? This regular.
Okay, that's spicy. Okay. And that's valid though. Valid points. Valid points only, bro. And I feel like
I'm speaking for the people, man.
no, yeah. God, I really hope people take this to heart because it really is one of them things. It take a lot to just even do what we doing right now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that too. Even having a conversation like this, like let alone doing a podcast episode, but just having a conversation like this where you tap into the I don't even want to say insecurities, but you tap into like the thought process of people in which they may have not even tapped into themselves. Like this is just based off of me having conversations with people, me having conversations with myself, me me looking myself in that mirror every day and saying,
Mm.
am I okay with what I see? Am I okay with the things that have influenced me? Am I okay with who I hope to become as I progress through life? Like all that can change at different points if you allow yourself to be in situations where you are negatively influenced by certain things and you become those negative influences. The best thing I can tell people is do some soul searching, find out who you are, who you want to become, and surround yourself around things that propel you to get to that goal. That's all. That's all I could I could really say when it comes to that. Because I mean, everybody's experience is different, but it's the same. Like you're never going to go through an experience where I know you're never going to go through an experience that somebody else hasn't experienced before. You may not know that person, you may not have them people in your circle, but don't think for a second that you're the only person that's ever gone through this situation. Because there's been billions or maybe even trillions of people that's inhabited Earth over the course of Earth's life. Like I'm pretty sure if it was a trillion people, there's no experience that somebody hasn't experienced. Like,
Like, hello.
you know what I mean?
For real.
So when it comes down to it, do all you can to be the best version of yourself for yourself. That's the end of my TED talk. I'm
No,
listen.
like that was bad. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
yo. Oh, so I don't know how much time we got, but
You're good.
I got one more thing, right?
Okay.
Which is I feel like going to be this thing where people gonna take this and run with it. Like people gonna look for the ins and outs of being something that they know they're not. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to identifying with a culture that is not yours, where do you go from there? Because after a while, not after a while, but certain people cannot identify with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy. They cannot. Like I feel like when it comes to being like, I don't want to say ethnicity because but it is because there's there's things behind it. It's
Mm-hmm.
there's that make you that way. Like I'm trying to say right before I come out of my face and people be mad, but like where do you go from with trying to identify? Like we already talked about the different groups, but when you try to hop into a whole different like heritage,
Mm-hmm.
is that like a line cross?
So
Like what's the limit on identities? Because I know everything has a limit too.
yeah,
Because
well, yeah, we talked about that. I don't remember if we talked about it on record, but we definitely talked about it off record. It's a cap to certain things that you can do when it comes to community identity, certain things, right? Like some of those things, like you can't say like, well, you can, but it's not ideal to say like you're something that you aren't. Like some things you was just born into. Like I was born into this body. Like I can't,
right,
I couldn't decide. Like I'm from here. I was born here. I was born into this skin. I was born, how I was or whatever the case may be. Like I can't choose those things, right? So what I'm saying for me is like it's a cat to me. So now some people may say, "Fuck it, I'm going to do what I want to do. Whatever. We've seen it done before. We ain't gonna stop seeing it. I don't think. But for
we're
me,
not.
for me, like I don't know. Like what I would try to say is like you can't go into something that you're not. How do I want to say? I don't want to say like accustomed to or associated with, but you can't go into it as if like that's yours. It's like a a hierarchy you gotta achieve before you're accepted completely in certain
Facts.
communities. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that if it isn't some kind of regulations, then shit can get a little murky.
You said a little murky.
Yeah, shit can get a little murky if it's not regulations or I don't know if this is a negative phrase or whatever, but gatekeeping, like
Yeah.
like it has to be a level of you know what I mean? Like so that way when you come into it, you know what this is, how to conduct yourself in this environment, how to conduct yourself in this culture, in this community without offending people by accident or appropriating the culture or the community or any of those other things that come off as negative when you're trying to show respect or adapt something that you find dope about these people or dope about this culture or dope about this community that you just want to adapt to yourself. I'm not saying all things are adaptable because some shit be looking crazy, but it's a way to go about doing it.
Facts. These are some things we
I mean,
on.
I listen. I'm just that's
No,
what
no,
it is.
heard you. I figured do you. I do. Yeah.
What's your take on it? You don't have to answer that question, but because it's a little, you know what I mean. But
yeah, it's one of them things where I know, like, I think you can develop or you can appreciate certain things.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think crossing over into a category where you cannot fit,
Mm-hmm.
where where it's not that.
There you go. I like that because you can't fit into every place. Like
Right.
every place ain't for you, and that's just a matter of fact. Like some people be trying to force themselves into places where they don't fit and say like I gotta be accepted just cause like
Right, right, and
I don't know.
it's not that. And I know we talked
Every place ain't for you.
that. I think there's a certain there's a boundary you should not cross when
Yeah.
trying to do and trying to take on the identity. Like that's what I'm saying. When you try to snatch someone's entire identity,
So culture
no,
appropriate.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. Mm-mm.
I don't think that's it. I do not think that's it. I think everybody has their own stuff, but there is things you can be influenced by.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way to go about being influenced by it, right? Like, say if you grew up in a predominantly suburban area, you're gonna be influenced by certain things,
Right.
right? Now, say if somebody who is a different race than you grew up in a predominantly urban area. Excuse me, that's what I was looking for. I said ethnic, urban area. There's gonna be some things that influence them, but that's not your culture. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's take on something that you cannot relate to. Like you trying to be relatable, knowing damn well you cannot be. So therefore, it's not your identity. You're influenced by certain things. So of course you dress a certain way. I'll take that. I'll take that. Your mannerisms is a little different. I'll take that. I'll take that. But there's certain things that is cultural that you cannot do. So it's not a part of your identity. And you cannot say because you spent time in this era or this area, this environment, it's yours. It's not.
Right.
That. Like I know for a fact, I can't take my black ass into an Asian community and be like white right and I don't be but like,
No, I got you. I got you.
I'm not doing that. Like that's just what
Yeah,
I look like.
yeah.
Not
I think I think that's due to experiences. Like some experiences like aren't necessarily relative across the board, right? Like
mm-hmm.
different cultures experience different things. So if you're
Oh,
like somebody to be like, yeah, like I'm a part of this culture, you know, you don't go through the same kind of things that people of this culture or of this community go through. So that could be taken as disrespect to the people who go through these things or have gone through these things to get where they are as a community or as a culture, and then you come in and say, oh yeah, but this is mine too. Like you ain't put in no legwork, fam, to claim these things.
right.
And the people who did that can they often take it as a disrespectful gesture, even if you mean it out of good faith. Like
Because it looked like you joking about it. It looks like
exactly.
it's being played with because you're not gonna take it as serious as the rest of us is.
Right.
Like that, and certain things you can't joke about if you're not a part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm one of those people that since I am part of a specific community, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
make jokes, say certain things, but because I'm not trying to use it in a certain way.
Right.
I know you say it and it come out your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's different things too. Everything got rules behind it. Like everything not for everybody. Like, and I wish we would understand that too.
I think that's another important thing too. That everything is not for everybody, and forcing people to be a part of everything. That's not a
Yeah.
not the way to go. Like everything don't need to be talked about. Everything don't need to be seen. Everything don't need to be experienced. Like those things are for those people.
Right. And I'm okay with that, right? Like it's okay. Like I feel like it's to like sum it up in my head. You cannot take on an experience you have not experienced because you will not appreciate what you have not experienced. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna put my birds out. But I like it's different. It's really really different. It's really different. Like it could be a part of you, like off the sense of like what I said, like you being in that. But there's certain boundaries you can't cross with your identity. Like, oh God, there's people nowadays who literally will look at you and be like, I'm a completely different race. I was raised this way, knowing damn well that was never the case. Knowing damn well that was never the case.
It's very true.
And I'm just like, this is not cute. Like, it's not funny, and it's not something that I take like it's and I not to be like on a controversial tip, but I take that when we talk about sexuality too. Like, it's certain things you cannot say that you are and be for real about it, because there's certain things that come with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like labels have meaning to it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't fit into that, or you haven't like grown into that, like I can understand why people are not fully accepted. Like I can understand it. But then I understand people on other hand. I'm a very understanding person, let me just say that. But I'm just saying there's certain boundaries people cannot, I feel like, should not cross, because every experience is not the same for each different type of community. My eyes twitching, somebody popping shit. But
oh my God, yeah.
Enough without being too much, but it's one of the things, let's just fit within the lines that we fit into respectfully. Like if you gonna cross over, be respectful about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I said again, it's cool to be influenced by things. Like it is 100%. Like we are all influenced by different things.
Yeah,
we are all influenced by external things, but again, like just understand, have a sense of understanding of who you are as that individual person. Like that is the main thing that I want everybody to take away from this conversation, is just have a true self-aware understanding of who you are as a person, and lead with things that propel you to get to the goals of you being the person that you want to become. And hopefully that's a good person and somebody that puts good into the world. You know what I'm saying? My little PSA. But we gonna wrap. So you already know what's three things that the people could take away from this conversation.
Bro, the only thing that I took away was a headache and a migraine. This has now completely blown my head to the point where now I got to reevaluate. I'm gonna sit here and literally think about some things. Like, you see that pineapple there? That's gonna be my. We're gonna be staring into the abyss trying to figure out my life, because I love this conversation. I loved it. I really did. It a lot more, because now I've looked deeper into certain things, and now I have to look deeper into certain things to understand. I like to understand. Once I understand, I'm not confused, and then I'm more calm about certain things. So, what's your takeaway?
Again, you need me to say it for the millionth and one time?
Yeah. Yes, please.
That's cool. I'll do it. I'll reiterate for the people. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is key. Look into that mirror and be happy with what you see. That is the most important thing. All right. Any external outside validation, that's cool, that's fine, that's dandy. But when it boils down to it, the only person opinion that truly matter is yours. So lead a life that you're gonna be happy leading, because can't nobody live it for you. You can only experience, dealing with other people. You can experience being a part of community. You can experience being a part of culture. But at the end of it all, you the only person you're gonna see when you look in the mirror. So make sure that person is happy. Make sure you're content with who you see and who you are and who you growing into becoming. Simple as that. Anything else? You good? You thinking you ain't even respond? All right.
I'm good.
Say less. All right. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of HolloTalk Podcast and another installment of What's the Word? And we will definitely be back soon with some more of the HolloTalk Podcast. Thank you, Dope Queen. I love you. I appreciate you.
Carrier.
And thank you all to the HolloTalk podcast listeners and supporters for supporting us through and through. Peace and love, yo.
Peace and love. I like that.